Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I'm your host, Randi-lee. On the show, we interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode. Hello, Kim. How are you?
Well, good morning. I am doing great. Thank you. And how are you today?
I am pretty good. It's a nice day out, so it's always good. So everybody, I have Kim Lengling with me today. Did I say it right?
You did.
Yes. Oh, I just ripped my blanket. Whoops. That's okay. Um, so first off, tell us a little bit about who Kim is.
Well, I reside in Pennsylvania and I am the mother of one grown daughter and a rescue dog named Dexter,
What kind
who
of
is
dog?
he is a Mastiff Belgian Malinois mix.
Okay. I love
So
animals.
I'm a big dog person. So yeah, and he's full of personality and he makes me smile every day and we all need that. So
Exactly. I made a TikTok, a little off topic. I made a TikTok just for my animals because I have four cats and three dogs. So they have their own TikTok and it's adorable because
right. And they should have their own TikTok.
right? They're way cuter than anything else I'm gonna do.
Or what mostly you see online these days. So,
Right? Oh, I know. So if you
yeah,
need like a good little, oh, that's so cute, or laugh because they're hilarious.
right.
The TikTok is at Fred Daff and the Gang. I know it's
Awesome.
really long, but what it is.
Awesome.
Anyways, so back to about Kim. So you have a rescue dog who is adorable.
Yes, he is. And I am an author. I've been writing since 2004, kind of an accidental thing, at least that's how I considered it. I never looked at myself as a writer, and it just kind of came to me from giving a speech one time for a large group of people, and it just kind of
Oh,
rolled from there, which was pretty awesome now that I
cool.
look back at it and how the path was laid out for me. But
Yeah.
typically I write faith-based things, but I'm also working on a little bit of a kind of a fantasy book about wood sprites and fairies and all of the critters that live in the woods. So working on something like that that's a little fun, could be for young adult and adult. But that's on my it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
also a podcaster I'm the host of the podcast Let Fear Bounce, and I'm also the
Oh.
host of an online streaming television show called The Right Stuff, The Author's Voice. So
Oh,
that's
cool. Okay. So tell me about that stuff. That sounds fun.
well, the podcast I started, I lost my job like when the pandemic was just,
Mm,
really kicking in.
right.
And my background is sales and marketing for 25 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was a road warrior. And when the doors in the world closed, I had no place to drive to. Everybody's
Yes.
doors were closed. So, and then my position was terminated because they didn't need me anymore. And, no hard feelings or anything like that. It's just
Yeah.
what it was. But then I thought, at this stage in my life, I had not anticipated being unemployed.
Right. Yeah.
So I gave myself a day, one day, 24 hours to be really angry because, you do kind of get a little angry.
You do. I think people don't realize that when you lose a job, you also go through a type of grief and
Yeah.
you are so allowed to be angry, even if you understand why and you're like, I get it. Like, no hard feelings, but I'm still angry.
Right. Yes, because it's the unknown. You're
Yeah.
facing the unknown, and fear brings anger with it.
Oh, yeah.
So I gave myself 24 hours to be angry, to yell and swear if I needed to,
Yep.
which I did.
Good for you.
I have a big backyard and I live in the country. So the critters heard a lot of words from this lady. So I did that for a day. And then the next day I said, all right, Kim, pull up your big girl panties.
Mm-hmm.
This might be looking like a closed door, but there are other doors in front of you that have cracks. They're cracked open. Peek
Yes.
in, peek through a couple of those because there's opportunities through there.
I like the way you say that peek through because so many people I hate that term of oh one closed door and there's an open window or however people say it. And I'm like, but you still don't know if it's a good one, right? So I like that. I like that peek through.
Yes, peek through, see if it's something that resonates with you or that
Yeah.
speaks to your heart, whatever. So I decided to peek through a couple of those little doors that were cracked open. And I thought, I've been hearing a lot about this podcasting stuff. I literally had no clue how to do any of it. So I Googled it and researched it for 2 hours. And by the third hour, I had started my own. And
Nice.
that's how I started it.
I love
And
it.
almost 2 years later, and I'm at 140 episodes, I'm still
Nice.
going. So, and I call
Isn't
that
it so much fun?
it is. I have had an amazing time, and the people that I meet from all over the world, what blessings I have
Right?
gotten over and over from the people that I've met and hearing their stories and their journeys. And
Hmm.
I'm happy that I'm able to give them a platform to share their stuff.
Well, exactly. That was kind of like when I started the show, right? I was like, hey, no kind of what I want to share with people, but I think it's important that others get a chance to share their story.
Yeah. And
That's
just
so
been, and it's
cool.
just, and it's, well, it's an act of kindness. You're giving,
Hmm.
but we're also receiving in many ways that I never anticipated.
Yeah.
So
So what's
it's
it called again, the podcast?
the name of my podcast is called Let Fear Bounce.
Let Fear Bounce. That is a very cool name. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Let Fear
Yeah, because
Bounce.
I am when I, like I said earlier, fear comes with anger.
Hmm.
And I was like, you know what? No way. This girl is not letting fear land on her. I will not let it happen. It is floating in the air all over the place right now. And that's when the world was blowing up with COVID
Yeah.
and fear was everywhere. It was
Oh
like
yeah.
pushed in your face. And
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm not letting it land. I'm letting fear bounce. And this is what I was saying to myself out
I
loud. Let it
love
bounce. Yeah.
that. You need to
So,
make some like merch up. I don't know if you have already. Make some merch up. Let Fear Bounce because that is like super
yes,
cool. I love it.
I have coffee cups.
Ooh, I want one. I don't even drink coffee, but I want one.
So that's
Uh,
how the podcast started. And then the television show started because I was a guest on someone else's podcast who had just gotten involved in a brand new television network called Believe in Your Dreams TV and said, hey, they're looking for dynamic hosts that for a family friendly, clean network. And, here's their contact information, reach out, see if you might be a fit with them. And I was like, do I really, no. And I thought about it for a few days. And then I thought, what do I have to lose? This is another
right?
door with a crack open.
Exactly.
So
Don't
I'm
shut
like, let
it.
me peek through this one too. So I did. I took a little peek through and had a couple meetings and thought, you know what? This is just a natural progression.
Hmm.
So I did it. They accepted my show idea, and I'm now recording season 2, and it's called The Right Stuff, WRITE, and it's nothing but authors. I interview authors from all over the world, from those ones that are just starting their journey
Oh, nice.
to USA Today bestselling authors. And
Cool.
so that's and those episodes are streaming online on many different platforms like Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Google
Oh,
Play.
neat. I have a Roku box.
Yeah, there you go. And it's through the Believe Warriors app. That's what you look for. And it's been an amazing journey. And I'm learning each time I record an episode, I'm learning more and more. So I'm kind of chuckling because the first episodes I recorded a year ago. See
Oh,
that door
wow.
cracking open. What does that
Right?
mean?
So, this is exciting for all of the viewers. I'm sorry, podcast listeners, you're not going to see this excitement. But my door cracked open because my kid, and don't mind the rest of the mess, I have to clean my office, but let my puppy in.
Yeah, there's one of the dogs with his tail wagging.
So he'll hang out. He's a very chill dog, so he can just hang out, lay down, and
Yeah, mine's usually
be
laying
my
at my feet.
co-host. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Fred. That's Freddie
That's
with
Freddie.
Casey.
My dog's
Fred, Daff and the gang. That's Fred.
there you go. My dog's name is Dexter, and he is my office manager.
I love it. I always say, like on my TikToks, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, here's my office assistants wrecking stuff." They're always getting into stuff. Um, all right, so let's switch gears and talk about mental health here. Because obviously that's what everybody's waiting for. So what mental health are we going to talk about today?
I am a veteran who lives with PTSD, which is post traumatic stress disorder. And I was diagnosed with that years after I was discharged and came home, or I wasn't discharged. I was honorably discharged, just left in the normal course of things, separated from the military. So through an instance, a traumatic experience. And well, I'll just share it, I guess, because this is for mental health and people might need to share
Yeah.
it. So I live with PTSD due to military sexual assault.
Oh, okay.
So by two individuals that in the military you're to trust. And it turned out that I could not. So that was an experience that changed my life.
Yeah.
But looking back, because it's been quite a long time ago. It's been several decades ago. But
Okay.
at that time, I was young. I was 19
Yeah.
years old and far from home, and you're not really sure. You feel very isolated and very alone, and all these things, guilt and shame and fear. Fear was very prevalent. Fear was very prevalent because I continued to be stalked afterwards and
Okay.
threatened in many different ways. So that sticks with you for a lifetime.
Yeah, definitely.
But at that time, because I was grabbed in a parking lot and tossed in a car and taken away.
Oh
Um,
my.
I was able to get away, but it was several hours later. And I was running. There's a lot of things that I still don't remember, probably because
Yeah.
I don't let myself. But I remember running as fast as I could, and it was winter, and where I was at, winters were very harsh.
Okay.
And it was, really early morning hours. And I remember running as fast as I could. And looking back now, I realized that with each step I took, I was building a wall brick by brick
Yep.
because that was going to be shoved behind that wall and not looked at or thought of ever again.
Yep.
That's how my brain was going. I was able to hold all that back in there for quite some time, almost
Mhm.
15 years.
Wow.
But life happens and chinks in the wall start to happen because life is happening around you. The
Mhm.
loss of loved ones, death in the family, divorce, loss of jobs, whatever the case may be, life
Mhm.
happens.
Yep.
And when it starts pounding on that wall and it's leaving those little cracks out, that other stuff you've been shoving down for years and years is going to seep out. It has to. It has to.
Exactly.
And it did. It did for me. And I found myself on my knees on my living room floor, crying out to a God that I told myself I didn't believe in, asking to help me because I thought I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm a strong lady. Hell, I'm a veteran, nothing can get me down. I can handle this. Well, I couldn't. I couldn't. And other veterans, I was involved in a veteran post and still am to this day. These guys are Vietnam vets, combat Vietnam veterans, and they're my big brothers and they're my
Hmm.
family. And they were noticing a change in me. But I wasn't sharing anything because most veterans don't.
Yep.
And they said at one point, they're like, okay, we don't know what's going on with you, but we know
Hmm.
the signs.
Yeah.
And if you don't get your ass to the VA and get some help, we will drag you there.
Good for them.
And I told them, not in nice words, to back off.
Yeah. Yeah. But good for
And
them.
yes,
Yep.
yes. And they'd been there, done that, you know.
Yeah.
But and I said, back off, leave me be. And they eventually did drag me up there.
But when you said they eventually did, I thought you were going to say left you alone. I was going to be like, no, but yes,
No,
good. So they
no,
dragged
they
you
didn't leave
there.
me alone. They
Good.
they were on me, and they literally made the appointment and drove me up there.
Good.
And
So
I
I want
was
to,
not happy about that.
no, probably not. So I'm going to interject here because there's a couple really good points that you're making. If you notice that there's a shift in a person, and that's why this show is so important, right? Where a lot of these episodes we talk about, different signals, what led up to somebody going to therapy or whatever. So there's different signals that you can look for that you can see in a person, and that's what these guys did for you. They noticed these signals. So if you are watching this, you're listening, and this is triggering a thought of, oh my, yeah, I kind of noticed that in whoever. You might not have the gumption to literally drag them, but don't be scared to say something to them, to help them. They might need you to hold their hand while they go through this, right?
And they might
This is
fight you on it too.
they might fight tooth and nail, but that does not mean that you give up. It
Right.
might mean that they need a softer approach, perhaps. Some people do, right? Everybody's different. You needed them to literally drag you. I think that would have put me the opposite direction, and I would have just sat in the office, went and said
I
nothing.
did. I did.
There you go, right? So, but at least they kept trying, right? And so that's what I want to get across to the listeners and the viewers right now is that don't give up because somebody says, no, I don't want your help.
Right.
When you know that they need your help.
Right. And there is in the United States, there's a veteran crisis hotline, but it's a national hotline.
Okay.
And it's there. They've just changed the number. It's literally 988. And you just
That's
dial
it.
that, and that gets you to a national for the United States, a national um, hotline for help with mental issues or PTSD. If you're a veteran, you just dial 988 and then press 1, and that gets you to the veteran crisis hotline. But
Okay, that
I
is
share
awesome.
that all the time. I'm a co-host with a weekly radio show in my local area called Voices for Vets, and
Okay.
we share every week. We share stuff to help the veteran community. So, but that number, yeah, they literally just changed it. It's just 988, three numbers, easy to remember. And that's a national hotline.
Excellent. So again, 988 American National Hotline.
Yes.
Um, I don't know what the Canadian one is off the top of my head. I'm assuming we would have one. I don't actually know, but if anybody is watching right now and you do know what it is, hit us up in the comments and add it. All right, guys, let's help each other out. Okay, so they dragged you there and you sat there like I would assume, going, nope, back in.
Well, and the interesting thing back then, like I said, this was several decades ago. This was quite some time ago. There were no programs or counselors in place for female veterans going through what I
Really?
had went through. There was literally nothing.
I'm shocked, but then I think back because you're saying decades ago, and I'm not shocked. I mean, how many female veterans actually were there back then?
Well, this is back in the 80s, and
Yeah,
females were minority.
yeah, yeah. They were the forgotten bunch, really.
And what happened to me happened much more than people realize. I just happened to be one that came forward, which was not the norm back then either.
Yeah, I think that's
Because
still probably not the norm. Maybe a little more common than that.
it might be a little more common, but yeah, 30 years ago, it was no, I was considered a boat rocker.
Yeah, I could see that. And you know
And
what? Good for you.
who was I to start causing problems? Hmm.
Yep. And
Hmm.
when you think about it in that way, it's like, oh, yeah, stop causing problems. But that's not the way we need to think about it, right?
Oh no, I didn't think about it.
No,
I
no,
was
but other
right.
people thinking about it,
And
or other
that's
people
all part of
telling you.
right. And that's all part of that the bombardment of things that made me
Exactly.
afterwards say, you know what, I'm putting this behind a wall. I am not
Right?
talking about this again. I'm not going to think about it.
Yeah.
But that's not healthy,
No, not at
which I
all.
found out 15 years later. It's not healthy. And, I did get a great counselor, but he was it was a man because there was nothing in place for females. He was very honest that first day and said, we have literally no idea what to do with you.
Oh, wow. Well, at
And
least
I
he was
said,
honest.
and I said, appreciate your honesty, but I'm not talking to you
Yeah.
at all. And so we literally sat there and stared at each other for 40 minutes. Um, me just arms crossed, full of anger.
Yep, I could see that.
And him with a very calming presence, sitting back, relaxed, just waiting me out.
Yep.
And, I ended up seeing him for quite some time until he retired. Even when female counselors did start showing up years later.
Yeah.
Now, thank goodness, there are programs, more and more coming on board, more and more counselors and groups and all kinds of things like that for female veterans. But I was one of those, and they've actually called me a little bit of a trailblazer because I was the one that was fighting and arguing. Why isn't there more?
Yeah.
Why am I the only one out here? Why am I in this little boat all by myself? And I was pretty persistent
Good.
with it. And after, it took years though. Literally, it took
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
But
change is not a quick thing.
no, but I was pretty determined.
Good. You sound like
So,
a very determined individual.
but, I'm thinking no one is going to ever make me feel like that again.
Yeah.
And I made that decision a long time ago. And, it's a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. Everybody is a work in progress.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
But they still have, I live with, and that's why I don't say I suffer from
Yeah.
or any of that. I don't use those types of words ever.
Oh, okay.
I live with it because something traumatic happened to me, and I am a strong person
Yeah.
because I can live with it.
I like
People
that.
have no idea what is behind someone's face. So you slap on that mask with a smile on your face if you work outside the home and you're going to work and you're sitting at a red light and you're smiling and singing. You get to work and you're smiling, talking to people all day long. People have no idea
Yeah.
the huge battles that you might have fought all night long.
Yeah. Or for me, on my way to work crying, then yeah, kind of wipe off the tears. I never wear makeup to work. I actually only put makeup on for the show because I think it looks cool. Um, but then I'd walk into work and how are you? Oh, I'm
Right.
fine. In my head, I'm thinking I want to die.
People have no idea the battles that are fought and just the amount of strength and courage. And I am going to throw that word in there, the strength and courage that is needed to fight those battles and win them, but you're fighting them over and over and over again. Now people are like, "Oh yeah, you can be cured of PTSD. You can be cured of this." I don't ever use those words either, ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say I live with PTSD because triggers will come. There is such a thing as an emotional memory. Emotional memory will come. It could be a smell, it could be a song, it could be the weather on a certain type of day.
Yeah.
Emotional memories do not go away. So you just learn to live with it. You build up your toolbox. That's how I call it. I build up my
Yep.
toolbox and you learn different things over the years. And for me, it's been years. But I'm not like this crazy woman running around, I'm one that takes my experiences and realizes that okay, I would never wish what I went through on anybody.
Yeah.
But looking back on that journey to where I am today, I can understand why the path was laid out for me the way it was. Now,
Yeah.
I'm a Christian and I believe in God and that He guides my way. Doesn't mean He doesn't let you go through horrible things,
Exactly.
but there's a reason because maybe you're the strong one that was needed for that for 30 years later to be having a platform to help others.
Exactly. Yep. We never know what the reason is until many years later or ever. We might not
Or
ever
ever, right?
realize what it is. We might be, gone for 50 years and then somebody else is taking our story and using it. And we'll never know. So it's
Right.
interesting. So obviously you used my dog is just going straight through a laundry basket. He's so funny. Um, so you've talked about how you went to a counselor. What other coping strategies did you use or do you still use right now to help you?
I use things daily. It's almost it's almost you. I use them unconsciously now.
Yeah.
They're just so ingrained with me. Um, there are there's one that I turn to a lot, and like I said, I just do it. It's automatic now. I don't even think about it because I've just done it for so long.
Yep.
I use the five senses, and for me
Okay.
that works. For some it doesn't, but for me it does. So if I feel anxiety creeping up, because sometimes it does, and I can't figure out what the trigger is, because sometimes you can't. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're just like, I've just had a great day, and I have no idea why this was happening.
Yep.
So it kind of, and I always say it's creeping up. I can feel it creeping up. So it seems like it starts in my stomach and it just kind of rolls its way up. And then I feel my fists clench and then my shoulders get tight. And then I'm clenching my jaw and it
Mm,
just kind of moves its way up. So when I notice that, I try, and most of the times now I can, I'll just be like, all right, Kim, take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, in with the good, out with the bad.
yep.
And then I just tell myself, all right, Kim, five senses. What do you see? Well, I see a blue car. What do you hear? I hear birds. What do you smell? I smell exhaust. What can you touch? I can touch the door handle of my car. So refocusing
Hmm.
your neural pathways, changing that, refocus with your five senses. Just, and if you can't go through all five of them, just sit there and focus on one. What do you see? I see a tree. What's it doing? The wind is blowing right now and the leaves are dancing. Focus on something else. And then you will notice, hopefully, that your breathing is starting to calm, your jaw's loosening up, your shoulders are starting to fall back into the normal place where they should be. And it just, all of that stuff that was building upward, you can feel it kind of sliding down.
That's awesome.
That's what works for me. But it's
Hmm.
also something that you have to practice all the time.
Yes, I have tried that one and I find it hard to do, but I don't think these things are meant to be easy necessarily, right?
Right.
And it is about practice and doing it repetitively, and then it will become easy. But
Right.
it's not going
And
to be
it, I
easy
mean,
at
this has
first.
taken me years. I mean, I'm not
Exactly.
going to sugarcoat anything. It's taken me years. There were times where, and there are still times now where something, whatever the case may be, it's not something that creeps. It rolls over me. It
I'm
will
picturing a
roll over me.
bulldozer.
And yeah, and it comes so quick. I don't have time to think, oh, what do I see? And it's like, then you get that kind of that fight or flight feeling.
Yes.
I'm not one that flees. I'm the one that stands and fights it off.
I am just so surprised by that.
So if I feel that, if I get to that level, fight or flight, and I'm like, no, this is not going to win this time. I literally, I battle it out however I can. A lot of times that's physical movement. I'll grab the dog and say, we're going to go for a long walk right now. And he loves it because we walk a lot.
Well, that's good.
So physical exercise, physical movement, that's really helpful too for me. This is just my personal stuff.
I
I'm not a
agree with that
doctor,
one.
you know, but and I in the winter time when it's really cold and I still go outside, but you can't be out for as long.
Yeah.
My cupboards and closets and everything, they get really cleaned and really organized.
Yeah. Yeah. I know people are always talking about like spring cleaning. I'm like, I don't want to spring clean because that's spring. It's nice. I still want to be outside. Winter cleaning, that's where it's at.
Yes, that's when I start usually in December.
Yeah. Because I don't want to be outside. It's cold.
Yeah.
They were all like, but you live in Canada. You don't go skiing or skating. I'm like, no, I stay in my house where it's warm.
I love being outside any weather, but when you've got sub-zero temperatures, even the
Right?
dog can't be out that long. So,
Exactly. And this guy
yeah.
here, my co-host Fred of the day, he loves going for walks because he will not do a number two in the backyard.
My
So we
dog either.
right? So there was this giant snowstorm last year, and the snow was up to his shoulder height, and he was still like, "No, I want to go outside." Like he's sitting at the door, like, "Let's go, let's go." So I only took him. I didn't take the others, and I'm like, "Okay, we'll go around the block." And that's it. So I had to get totally bundled up, snow pants, everything. And I'm like, I hate you right now, But at the same time, I'm like, I love you because you are forcing me to get some fresh air. Because without him, I definitely wouldn't have been going outside, especially not that day.
That's what I love. That's part of, and I love being outside, like I said, in literally any type of weather. Um, but I'm so glad that I have the dog that I do because, yeah, you have to get outside. And he's a big dog. So,
Exactly.
he needs exercise.
Yep.
You can't keep him cooped up in the house.
Exactly.
So that, yeah, animals are amazing and they're so therapeutic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So tell everybody about what you've written.
I have, I coordinate anthologies. I have a 3-book series called When Grace Found Me. And that is stories of other women from around the world. They're sharing their stories, and I share some of mine too, as well, of going through trials, struggles, and then coming out the other side and still fighting.
Yeah.
And they're just amazing stories. And I was nudged to start that. And so one book, I was like, all right, so I'm supposed to share other people's stories. Okay, how can I do this? All right, I figured it out. Let's do it. But before that book was even published, I had word of mouth, apparently. I had 40 other women
Wow.
saying, are you still doing this? I'd love to be a part of this. And this is something I've never shared before, but I feel really strongly that I should now. And it was just such a journey. And we ended up turning it into a 3-book series,
Wow.
and they were all published in less than 12 months. It
That's
was just,
amazing.
it was a whirlwind.
So I am actually writing the review for the copy that you sent me today. I just finished it
Oh,
last
okay.
night. So I'm not going to tell anybody because I want them to go check out the website, go to rbwriting.ca, and you'll see the review, the blog, go into the blogs and you'll see it. But I will give a little snippet of it was very enjoyable. But that's all I'm telling you guys. You have to go and
And
actually read the blog.
there's so many different stories. Not every story is going to be for everybody,
That's what I liked about it
but
was that
there will be one story
yeah,
for
that's what I
everyone.
liked because there's definitely some that I'm like, yeah, okay, and there's others that I was like,
Because some you resonate with and some you don't, or some you're just, at least I'm an incredibly empathetic person, too much so sometimes. And reading, when I got to know these women through all 3 books and reading their stories, I may not have ever lived through what they went through or can even understand or
mm-hmm,
resonate, but I could still empathize and think, look, because everybody's story is different, everybody's journey is
yeah,
different.
and they're probably thinking the same thing about your story.
Right. And those stories, the way I looked at it and the way I very strongly felt in my heart was they're going to land in the hands of exactly who they're supposed to land in the hands of.
Yeah, I think so.
So it was never, doing these books was never something it was never even thought of as like, a money maker, got to sell,
Mm-hmm.
sell, sell. This was no, we have to get these stories out there and
Yeah,
it's going to unfold the way it's supposed to unfold.
and that's how I got started too, because I write about mental health mostly. I mean, I've crept into other things, kids' books and scary stories, just because it's fun.
Yeah.
Um, but I got started with mental health books because the story needs to get out there. And even if it only helps one person, ideally it will help more than that. But if it helps only one person, then it's worth the hours of work.
Right. And I'm often saying, I can't change the world, but
No.
I could possibly change one person's world.
Yes. Oh, I
And
like that.
that ripple effect, don't discount it, people, because
Mm-hmm.
the ripple effect is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. So where do people pick up their copy of all of them, all the books?
They're all available on Amazon, and the title of all 3 books is called When Grace Found Me, and it's simply volume 1, 2, and 3. So they're available on Amazon. You can get them there. I think that they're available Barnes and Noble, other online platforms as well, but Amazon seems to be the easiest one
Yeah.
to just for everybody to find. But they are there. Or if you want to learn more, you can go onto my website, which is just my name, kimlenglingauthor.com. They're listed on there along with other stuff about my podcast and the television show and my dog, because Dexter, the office manager, has his own section in bio. It has his own section in bio on the website. So
My voice gets so high pitched when I talk about animals. every time. I don't even mean to, it just every time. And so we're gonna put the link for that down in the description below. And where do people follow you?
Again, all of my contact information is on my website, but I also am on Facebook under Let Fear Bounce or The Right Stuff, the author's voice. That's literally just search that on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Kim Lengling. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. And I think that's just at Kim Lengling for both. I can't remember.
I love the thought.
There's too many. There's too many platforms, and I don't want to spend all my day on social media. So LinkedIn and Facebook are kind of like the two main. Instagram and Twitter, they fall behind. There's still stuff on there, but Facebook is where I would say 95% of all my stuff is posted and shared. And that's where the biggest following is and all of that. So that seems to be the platform that works the best for me, but I am on all of them.
Yeah.
Just Google me. Google Kim Lengling.
Perfect. And don't worry, because as soon as you read the description or the title of the episode, you're gonna see how to spell her name. So don't stress about needing to find a pencil right now and say, tell me how to spell it. Don't worry, it's enough. So again, thank you so much, Kim, for coming on the show, for sharing your story, for sharing some coping strategies with us. And I know that it's definitely going to help some people out there.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I love doing stuff like this. And if it does resonate or help somebody or make someone at least think about reaching out for help, that's worth any anxiety I had talking about it.
Oh, well, you wouldn't even be able to tell that you had any anxiety about it, so you're good. Besides, you're a pro. You have your own podcasting show.
You're right. That's right. I'll call myself a pro.
That's right. You're a pro at it now. Thank you.
Have a great day.
As always, thank you so much for the amazing guests that we have on the show. Be sure to check out their links down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out our merch store. We've got some very cool things on there. That's my favorite. Sorry, I'm busy ending the stigma. But there's some other very cool designs. 10% of the proceeds always goes back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at RB Media because we have some great new shows coming up and you never want to miss any of those episodes. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly. Bye!